Max Juju. I'm the founder of Juju Games and also the CEO, and also creative director at Comic Republic and co-founder of Comic Republic, one of Africa's largest comic book studios. We recently had most of our IP acquired by Universal Studios, and I've been working at telling stories for over a decade and a half, about 15 years roughly. So I'm not new to African stories. Our studio has recently got traction in Imagine FX, TRT Africa, IGN Game Magazine in Germany. We also won Games Grand Germany pitch in Berlin. That was the Rabbit Coconut edition. And also we had our MVP launch in May this year. And we've had over 100,000 views and 96 hours of playtest time with over 120 playtest streamers and 2,500 number of downloads. Currently, we are working and collaborating with Draw Distance in Poland. And yeah, that's our traction. Next slide, please. So Vodou, what is Vodou about? Vodou is an Afrofuturistic space opera where you play as either Baz or Amani, two bounty hunters who are about to catch the biggest bounty in the galaxy, sorry. Next slide, please. This is the main menu. As you can see, Vodou incorporates a lot of comic book aesthetic and African folklore. It's a blend between inspirations from Borderlands, Star Wars, and basically just taking African stories to a galaxy far away. Next slide, please. Next slide. Particularly also, Vodou draws from the rich culture of Dahomey folklore. That's where the name Vodou comes from. And we're trying to create a world where we can blend all kinds of African culture seamlessly into one space. And we think the space opera genre is the best place for it. We're dragging cultures from Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, even all the way down from South Africa. Next slide, please. The gameplay loop basically is you travel to different worlds, collecting bounties, catching criminals. We're trying to implement a sort of pseudo-nemesis system. We can't say too much about it, but basically we're trying to create something where as you catch criminals, you also get to rank up, and then those criminals also get to rank up. So there's consequences for every action and every bounty that you collect. Next slide, please. It's very vast. We're not just looking at games, we're looking at animation, we're looking at comic books. Currently, we have a comic book on Webtoons that has done about 1,400 views. And we're also planning to partner with Comic Republic to also extend and create more IP under Vodou, as well as also novels. Why are we doing this? To change the cultural narrative. Also to bring something new to the table. I'm more of looking at Afrofuturism as a way to tell and reinvent African culture and roots. Who are we? RPG, and if any of you have seen that, you should go check it out. And also PC, and we're also planning to branch into mobile as well with the freemium model Battle Royale. We also will have in-game purchases like skins, customizations as you've seen in the trailer, season passes, and merchandise collaborations with Printivo and Shopify. Next slide, please. Currently, we're on Q3 of our roadmap. We've polished our vertical slice and we're looking for publishers and public testing. Next slide, please. Who's in our market? As I said earlier, we're looking at people who enjoy mythology-driven games, RPG action games, Assassin's Creed Origins, Hades, God of War. If you love these games, then we will definitely resonate with you. Next slide, please. Our team is composed of myself, my developer and co-founders, Juju, Victory, my brother as the art director, and Justice Energy as our business manager and COO, and Akintude, who also heads our writing team, as well as also the team from Draw Distance, who also help with advisory and also consultancy. Next slide, please. Our budget currently is sitting at 500,000 USD. To make a game this vast, you need a lot of money. So, next slide, please. That's pretty much it.
So you spoke about the different tribes in Nigeria and South Africa. And looking at it, it just looks like it could be a good game from anywhere. So I'm trying to understand how exactly African culture has been incorporated from your POV. Like, what makes this an African story, so to speak?
That's a great question. So for example, take Amani, the character up there. She is called Amani Renas Kandake. Amani Renas Kandake is the Nubian queen of Kush, which repelled the invasion of Rome. This is a character that hasn't been touched on in most modern media. The character below, he goes by the alias Aganju. Aganju is also one of the forgotten Orishas that most people don't know about. He's the Orisha of wilderness that shoots fire from, twin fires from his sticks in his hand, which could be guns if you think about it. And these are the little ways or the little things that we're throwing in there in the rest of the world. The world is also based on the Vodou Dakome mythology. The leading pantheon in that world is based on Vodou mythology. We have the antagonist, which is Zebioso. Zebioso is a thunder god that nobody really talks about or has heard of. I'm sure you've probably just heard that name for the first time. But you've heard of Shango, you've heard of Amadioha. But Zebioso is also a thunder god that most people don't talk about. So these are the ways we're weaving African culture into the story. Now, right now, because of the stage we're in, it may not look that obvious because we're in the prototyping stage. We're working and bootstrapping majority of all of this by ourselves. So we need to get to the point where we have funding so we can go all out, guns blazing. So yeah.
I'm gonna put my production hat on right now. So just asking about in terms of budget and vision in terms of your roadmap. So you showed Q3, but you didn't actually show the roadmap in terms of production.
Quick introduction, please.
Ah, sure. I mean, I've talked 3 times already today, but I'm Sukena.
I came really late.
Yes. I am Sukena. I am, as I said, producer and business developer at Virtuous Games. We're actually one of the biggest co-development studios with more than 25 studios. Come here. And yeah, I was talking about Swiftly and how much time you think we...
And this is estimated based on how long we've taken to get the prototype. What you are seeing right now is about roughly from January to May that we had this developed. We're using that to estimate on our team's capacity, our ability to handle that pressure and workload. If we can deliver this, right, then obviously we can scale further. So that's what it's looking at for us, 3 years with full funding.
Because I think that's probably where most of that, Africanism and stories of the story, because in terms of the game, it looks like a pretty standard FPS type of shooter game. But do you have any vision, in terms of your GDP about how the narrative of the game is gonna look like going forward, or is that still learning?
No. Usually when I start a project, I have an end, middle, and beginning. It's one of the things in my experience as telling stories at Comic Republic. We usually just plot everything out down from the beginning. So I do have a framework for everything in the story. We've done everything from building the magic system of the world that we're going to use, and also how the bounties work. The bounty hunters that you're looking at right now, they're called the Markai. Markai is the play on the word Masai. These are little things that we're throwing in the storyline. If we sent you our game documentation, you probably see the amount of work we put in the story.
And if you had to, categorize the genre of the game, because you talk about space opera, because genre, but it's not necessarily Borderlands specifically. Is it going to be, a Mass Effect-y RPG with some shooting mechanics type of thing? Is it going to be multiplayer, single player?
So it's leaning towards more of Borderlands and also Mass Effect. Reason why I would add Mass Effect is that we want the characters to have dialogues and choices for those dialogues to have consequences in the game. So if, for example, you decide to take a mission, and that mission happens to be from somebody that's giving you false information, we want to have that consequence inside the game so the player gets to learn from not just having that dialogue and just picking random choices. There should be consequences in the game and repercussions for doing certain things, not just going GTA style and wiping everybody across the board. So, yeah. Just to answer your question directly, is a third-person shooter an action RPG?
All right, thank you very much. Sorry, I'm going to be the timekeeper from now on. So platform, what do you?
So right now, the game that we just displayed is going straight to PC. That's the best way to maximize the amount of storytelling we're going for. We're also targeting mobile. So once we're done with this vertical slice, we're going to also create a version for mobile.
What's your primary platform?
Primary platform is going to be PC.
Okay, so don't do mobile just because like that just extends your timeline. What's your biggest nightmare
Biggest nightmare.
aside from money?
Yeah, that's a deep question.
Well, I mean from work, not personal.
I think my biggest nightmare would be the outlook of, because the gaming community, I've gotten to realize that there's a certain level of toxicity with regards to stories that are coming out from Africa. I recently just like saw the reviews on Relooted, and to me I was like, I was wondering if it was Indiana Jones, would it have been any different? And no one's asking that question, but people are bringing up like, oh, it's this, it's that, it's work, and some people just want to tell good stories. And my biggest nightmare is that like the story would get washed over with that narrative that, oh, we're trying to do this and that. I think that's just my general nightmare. Everything else is like I can handle that.
I mean, we can chat about that. Last question: what would you choose, cash or advisory? If you want it, if you want it.
Depends on who's giving me the advice.
No, but we were the ones who are sponsoring, so you either get cash or you get advisory.
I think I would choose advice because
Okay.
It's
It's like,
very cash.
not expensive. At least we know where you stand up. All right, thank you very much. Thanks.